Hey guys, Prangell Gaming here, and welcome back to Talk the Wall. This is the 9th installment, and today we're getting right into your responses and any questions you may have had. But first, if you haven't seen any of the other 8 installments, then why not check them out? There's going to be a link in the description of this video for the last Talk the Wall. You could also access the playlist by clicking the I button. But as always, if you have any questions or opinions, do feel free to put them in the comments section of this video because I want a Millwall voice throughout. Also, why not put your score predictions for the Bradford game in the comments section, along with your opinions on what went right and what went wrong in that game, along with what happened with the West Bromwich Albion youth game. Also, do bear in mind that I did record this on the Tuesday, and we'll be covering what happened in that checker trade game against West Brom's youth team in the next Talk the Wall next week. So we'll start with the score predictions, and 2 of you predicted for this Chesterfield game. The first was Joe Holloway, and he said the score would end 2-0 to Millwall. So he did get 2 goals predicted, pretty similar to what happened, but we did concede a goal and also score another one in that game, so better luck next time. And next up was Harry CD, and he predicted the right result of 3-1 to Millwall, so I'd like to congratulate him on getting the score correct. I thought the score would end 2-1 to us, but we did concede a goal. That was the only positive I got from that, as we scored 1 more than I actually thought we would. So we're going to get into what the people said on the comments section of the last video. I'm going to start with Joe Holloway. He said, in the Sheffield United game, our midfield was our weak spot. With it being so weak, Worrell was forced to go central, much to the fans' despise. Thankfully, Harris has opened up the club's wallet and just signed Butcher from Burton Albion. Well, I thought the team's performance was really cagey, to be honest. After all, we did suffer a huge defeat, and we just needed to somehow get the job done. So it was expected to be nervy, really, and I think that we got a player that we needed to get in, Callum Butcher, or a player really like him. We needed a centre midfielder. We've got one, so it's nice to have them at the club, or at least have someone that can do a decent job, and I think he'll be useful. He did sign on a 2-year deal after all, so we'll see what comes through him. He may be good, he may not, but we've just got a centre midfielder for options. Next up was BTJW Gaming, and he said Tony Craig hasn't been at the best this season so far, so I was wondering why don't they use Sid Nelson instead, as in the game he was playing in, it was a very good game, and what a game, a 3-1 win for Millwall. Come on, you Lions. Now, before I say anything, Joe Holloway actually commented on this saying that, well, actually I would assume that it's about Sid Nelson, but he said he's too edgy and jumps into challenges too harshly. Now, do feel free to actually correct me if I'm wrong there, Joe, but I would expect it to be Nelson because that fits his description of performance in quite well. But if not, then Tony Craig will obviously be the other player. Now, with Tony Craig, I still think he's trying to get his feet, as he did play very little last season. That's what some people are seeming to forget. And he is really like a new signing, so you must really treat him like that. But also, Craig is the captain, so you just have to really accept that fact that the captain is going to be in the team, good or bad, and that's really how a captain works. But I'm going to be honest here with Sid Nelson, I don't really know what's happening with him. He's been frozen out of the team, and he does go into challenges far too much for my liking, and you kind of expect danger when he goes in, and at least you don't see that with other defenders, because especially with Nelson, you think that he might get a red every time he goes into a challenge. You don't think that with Byron too often, so it's one of those things that we're just going to have to see how he progresses throughout this season. Finally, Harry CD said, against Nottingham Forest, we looked like a strong team, even though we was playing a backup side. Everyone on the pitch generally looked like they wanted to play for the club, which is great to see as a passionate supporter. We made a couple of silly errors, which ended up causing us to lose the game. On another day, we would have won. Also, Sid Nelson impressed me a lot in this match. I definitely think by this time next year, he'll be a starting 11 player for us, unless we make a big signing for the centre-back position. Now, I think, yes, for the youth team, they did really well, and I think it's really due to the work that Harris has done with these players. I think that the players, they do need to show passion, otherwise it'll be hard for them to succeed at this club, as that is what a player at Millwall needs to show. But the Sid Nelson thing it's really tricky, to be honest. I can see us signing someone because of the age of Tony Craig. He's not getting any younger anytime soon, and Byron Webster obviously is getting older and is one of the only real experienced centre-backs we have at the team. And so really it's due to Sid's progression. If he does really well, he'll go in the team. If he doesn't, then it could be really hard, and I think we might just replace him. Now, what about the games that Millwall played? Well, we played 2 games this week. The first was obviously that 2-1 loss against Nottingham Forest in the EFL Cup. In this game, Sean Williams scored a a beautiful 55-yard goal, and many of the youth team players actually got a run out, and it wasn't a terrible performance by any means. 2-1 is a decent result against a team that's obviously a stronger opponent. And then the other game was, of course, the away game in the league against Chesterfield. We played really well. We proved we don't need Lee Gregory to score goals, as we got 3. The first was scored by Shane Ferguson and assisted by Aidan O'Brien. The second was scored by Steve Morrison and assisted by Byron Webster. Yes, Byron Webster belted up the pitch and played a through ball through to him. And the final goal was scored by Steve Morrison, but this time it was assisted by Sean Williams. It was a weird assist because he absolutely just smashed it up the pitch and just hoped for the best. Well, that's what it looked like anyway. But we played really well in this match. Really, we could have improved in terms of playing better in the second half. We didn't pressurise as much as we should have. We could have got more goals in the second half if we had done that, but that's maybe just me being greedy. We won 3-1. That is still a very good result, and that is our first away win in the league this season. Now, I want to do a few things extra that I haven't been doing in my other videos of Talk the Wall, and that's giving you an update on the top league's goal scorers, Millwall's top goal scorers in all competitions, and the top 6 in the league at the moment. I won't be doing this too often, but I'll give you an update every now and then on a couple of Talk the Walls, so you'll probably see this in about 5-6 episodes time. So, in the league, third, Ched Evans is the top goal scorer so far. So, as I said, he's third. He plays for Chesterfield, as you may know. He's got 4 goals this league campaign. 2 of those have come against Walsall. The other 2 have came against both Swindon and Oxford. It hasn't been a bad return to football for Ched Evans, and he's proven that he'll let his football do the talking, which is very, very good for him. He's performing really well despite all the controversy around him. Now, second in the top goal scorers is obviously Millwall striker Steve Morrison. He's on 4 goals in this league campaign, and the only reason he is second is because he also has 1 more assist than what Ched Evans does. And 2 of the 4 goals that he has scored came against Chesterfield in our most recent game. He also got 1 against Sheffield United and against Peterborough United. But Steve really has only started scoring recently, and he's proven that he will not become a backup striker, and he still has a lot to offer at Millwall, which is really, really good, because when strikers get older, sometimes they don't score as much. He's still scoring a decent amount of goals so far. Now, top at the moment is Josh Morris of Scunthorpe United. He has 5 goals this league campaign, and his goals have come against Port Vale, AFC Wimbledon, Bristol Rovers, and to make up the other 2 goals, he scored a double against Gillingham in their crazy 5-0 win against them. Now, he has been fantastic this season. He's definitely contributed to their position in the league table. And can you believe, honestly, that he only scored 1 last season? It is crazy the amount that he's got compared to last season. He's doing really, really well. He could definitely help Scunthorpe to a very good position this year. Now, for Millwall's top 3 goal scorers in all competitions. Now, third is Sean Williams. He's got 2 goals, both coming against Sheffield United and Nottingham Forest. And a funny fact here is both of the goals that Williams has scored has been outside of the box, and I reckon he could get 2 more goals this season at least, because I think he's definitely doing well and he's getting more confident with striking the ball. Now, second is Aidan O'Brien. He's obviously got 2 as well. Those actually came against Oldham Athletic and Barnet, and he hasn't actually scored since the first 2 games, but he has showed promise and showed that he could get some more goals. And also, not to mention the fact that he did get those goals while he was actually in the left midfield position, so he needs to obviously get played more as a striker. I know he's played a few games as a striker, but he hasn't obviously scored in those games. He's been very unlucky. He's done really, really well, and he definitely will get a decent amount of goals this season. And obviously, first is Steve Morrison. He's got 5 goals in all competitions. Those goals come against Barnet, Peterborough United, Sheffield United, and Chesterfield. Morrison's goals have really been an assortment of goals in terms of the way he's got the goals. He scored with his head, he scored from the spot, and he's also lobbed the goalkeeper, which is showing his skill, and he's got bags of confidence. Now, I said I'd show you what the league was looking like at the moment, and so this is what the table's like so far. So at the top is Bolton Wanderers. Their best result this season has been a 2-1 win away from home to Bristol Rovers. Then second is Bradford, the team that Millwall next have to play in the league. Their best result has come at a 3-1 win against Coventry at home. Third is then Scunthorpe, and that's obviously into the playoffs then. And their best result, as I mentioned earlier, was a 5-0 win at home to Gillingham. That is by far the best result out of any team that's in the top 6. Now, fourth is Port Vale. They've had a pretty good start to the season, and their best result was a 3-1 win to Scunthorpe at home. So they've beaten one of the teams within the top 6. That's a pretty decent start to Port Vale's season. They've honestly shocked me how well they've performed so far. Now, obviously, fifth is Millwall. We really have only had our best result of a 3-0 win against Oldham at home. Apart from that, you could say that the Chesterfield 3-1 win away from home is a pretty decent result. And then sixth F is Gillingham. Now their best result was a 3-1 away win against Southend in the league. They also did that in the cup as well, as far as I can remember. Right, and now we're going to be looking at the Millwall news to round this up. So the first bit of news is Millwall have signed a centre midfielder in Callum Butcher. He signed from Burton Albion on a 2-year deal. Now while we're on transfer news, Neil Harris said no one is leaving from Millwall between now and the close of the transfer window. And these are all positive news stories, as Millwall need to remain a unified team, and getting a centre midfielder was a must do. So the fact that we've got that, we've filled that void, is a very, very good step in the right direction. In other news, Tom King has made his debut for Millwall against Nottingham Forest. He did concede 2 goals, but he made a decent amount of saves. So playing against a higher opposition, he did really well. Also, Jamie Philpott made his full debut for Millwall. He didn't score, but he showed good strength on the ball and did really well against higher opponents. And finally, David Ford has kept his 3rd clean sheet of the season. He is working wonders with Portsmouth at the moment, and he really is looking like he could definitely be the best goalkeeper in that league. So that is all we've got time for today at least. Do feel free to put your questions and opinions in the comments section for the next Talk to Wall. However, before I go, don't forget to put your score predictions in for the Bradford game, obviously in the comments section, as next week I'll be covering the game and highlighting the good and bad points. I want you guys also to tell me your opinions on the match. So like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next Talk to Wall next week. Goodbye.